Everybody, and welcome to the YouTube channel of the Forgevity, where we go into in-depth discussion about the three muscles that might be causing lower back pain for you. Now, as we mentioned in our Instagram, we talked about two of the muscles in depth and we showed you a little bit about them, but today we're going to go in an actual in-depth conversation. I'm truly going to show you why these three muscles might be causing lower back issues. Now, the first one we discussed was the piriformis. And as we saw in Instagram, we can simply perform a piriformis stretch even while seated, but today I'm going to show you a way to stretch it out in an even deeper format while we're laying down as well. The piriformis is going to be that large fan-shaped muscle that goes across the entire glutes and causes some immense pain. They even name it piriformis syndrome for a reason. It highly mimics sciatica symptoms. Sometimes piriformis syndrome can cause pain going down the glutes all the way to the leg, but most of the time, true piriformis syndrome is going to be that nagging pain that you just feel right in the glute region. There are some sharp and stabbing pains associated with it, so don't get me wrong, by all means, it definitely can cause a lot of pain. It most commonly goes undiagnosed because most practitioners forget about the piriformis. They go straight to sciatica. And we hear the word sciatica all the time. It's one of the most commonly overused phrases. It really bugs me just because sciatica, at the end of the day, just means the sciatic nerve is inflamed or irritated. But what happens is the piriformis ends up having the sciatic region involved. And so sometimes when we have that piriformis syndrome, it's really going to start creating the whole dynamic of sciatica, piriformis syndrome, femoral nerve syndrome, all of the combatants all involved. Now, notice how I also mentioned the femoral nerve. The reason why I mentioned the femoral nerve is because the other muscle we talked about on our Instagram is the psoas. Now, the psoas, I promise you, I'm going to show a really quick way to stretch it while you're standing at your desk, right? And so today we're also going to dive into that as well. So the psoas muscle is really one of our largest and strongest muscles of our torso. It attaches from the very front of our spinal segments right up to the lower lumbar spine and attaches directly into those hips. It's what makes us be able to hip flex. So me doing this motion just like this is using that psoas muscle. So as I sit at my desk like this, I am contracting those psoas muscles. Not to mention, as I start slouching throughout the day because I'm sitting on my computer, that psoas gets tighter and tighter, creating and mimicking a lot of problems such as piriformis syndrome, such as sciatica, or in this case, what we're discussing today, lower back pain. And the reason why is because as that psoas gets tighter and tighter, it is pulling on those vertebrae forward, and your body wants to slump backward. And so instead, we get a lot of tension, we get a lot of tightness, and not a lot of doctors actually even look at the psoas because it's technically in the front of the body. So it's hard to describe to patients that this is actually going to be a lower back issue when in nature, it truly is one of the largest causes for lower back pain. Now, the last muscles we're going to be discussing are the glutes. And we've all heard of the glute muscles. We have our glute min, our glute med, and our glute max. And that's what makes this area of our body so much larger than the rest, is we have this fan-shaped muscle, the piriformis, that wraps around this coercion of glute min, glute med, and glute max. And widely known by chiropractors, the glute med is one of the weakest muscles of the human body. Whenever you're walking, if you ever notice that your foot kind of flails out to one side, or you lay down and you notice one foot just falls to the side, that is actually a glute medius weakness. And I'll show you in the next video later on down the road how we're going to address a glute med weakness. Okay, but today let's jump into how to do those stretches. So the first one I promised you on Instagram was how to stretch out that psoas, okay? And there's two different ways you can do it at your desk. One of them is kind of low key. The next one is a standing position, okay? So I'm gonna turn around to show you how I can do this at my desk. The first position is going to be, I'm gonna get off of my chair, I'm gonna take a knee, and with my left leg, I am going to pivot forward at the hip. When I do that, I'm feeling a deep stretch in this area right here as I pull my waist forward, so that way I feel a nice deep stretch into this psoas muscle right here. Now, there's another way we can do it while standing at our desk, and we're going to use our chair to do so. So I'm now standing at my desk, and let's say this time I want to work through this right psoas. I'm going to take a step back, kind of lunge forward, And again, the pelvis drives forward just like this, getting a nice deep stretch into this area right here. If I want to take a deeper stretch, I'm going to take that same hand, I'm going to reach it up to the sky, get a nice deep stretch into this region, the psoas. Now, if you followed my Instagram page at all, you also know that we have the piriformis. I did show you guys the sitting piriformis, which is just like this. Again, chest forward, you're gonna sit and stretch forward, that nice piriformis stretch into that right leg. You're gonna notice a little bit of tension in the hamstring. That's perfectly fine. It's a good deep stretch into that piriformis muscle. It's gonna get a little bit of that hamstring like I did mention. But keep following, join me on the floor. We're now going to go down to the floor. If you have a bed or a couch, you can also do this at that area. But I'm going to show you how to get not only your piriformis, not only your glutes, but also your psoas all in one great go. Okay, follow me. Okay, are we comfortable enough? Now we're on the floor. Now, the one thing we want to notice about doing these on the floor, on the bed, on the couch, whatever we decide to do, if you are doing this on the couch, you want to make sure that you have the couch on this side to do this leg and on this side to do this leg. Okay, if you are doing this on the floor, on the bed, I definitely recommend spreading out your arms for a little bit of a chest stretch as well. Or you can put your palms up for a different type of chest stretch. But today, we're really just going to focus on the glutes, piriformis, and the psoas. Okay? So in order to get the psoas stretched, we're simply just going to take the leg that we're not working on, and we're just going to drop it all the way down. Okay? If you want, you can take that same arm, reach it up like this, and we're going to feel that nice deep stretch in the psoas just like this. This is a neutral position for the psoas. It's very simple, very basic, but it's a nice, good, deep stretch from that hunched over position we've been in all day long at our desks. Now, to get the glute and the piriformis, what we're going to do is we're going to go into that same figure four, almost as if we are seated at a desk, but instead of pushing our chest forward to get that deep stretch through here, we're actually going to just rotate just our lower half over. Okay, and when we do that, we're going to feel a nice deep stretch into the glute and that piriformis all through here. Notice that my chest stays upright, my arms are down. That's why I recommend bringing your arms out so your arms do stay down. And notice that I'm not straining, I'm not making any faces, but my foot has officially hit the ground. So I really can't go any further with this one. If I want to, I can come back up to a neutral plane. I can bring this foot closer to my butt. The closer that foot gets to the butt, the deeper the stretch is going to be in that piriformis and glute. So again, we're going to rotate all the way over just like this, and we're going to feel that deeper stretch in there. Now notice my foot does not want to touch the ground this time. It's kind of hovering a little bit, but we're going to see that nice deep stretch right into the piriformis, into the glute muscles, and I'm not straining. Again, I'm letting gravity kind of take effect. I'm slowly getting a deeper and deeper stretch. My leg is dropping down. As I take every single breath, my leg keeps dropping. We're going to hold this for about 30 seconds to a minute overall before we decide to go to the other side. Now, I will say there is one more stretch that I really enjoy with this that I'm going to show you guys right now. We're going to take our arms, we're going to thread the needle all the way through the legs. So you're going to bring your legs up, but this is actually contracting my abs. It's putting a lot of pressure on my abs. So I'm going to take my hands, I'm going to interlock my fingers, and then I'm going to fully relax. This is a nice deep stretch, just kind of in the hip area overall. It helps to open up the hip that is bent. If I really want to, I can use my arm strength. I can pull up a little bit just to get a deeper stretch in there. But this is just an overall really good way to get those hips nice and mobile. I hope overall you have enjoyed learning how to potentially get rid of lower back pain by simply working three main muscle groups. In our next series, we're going to start talking about shoulders. So I am going to go a little bit more in depth on that, but that is mainly going to be on my Instagram. But please follow our YouTube where we're going to start doing a lot more in-depth discussions about nutrition, ways to eat healthy, and all sorts of Forgevity hacks.